Hello everyone, and I hope you enjoyed a very happy 17th Data Protection Day yesterday. My name is Hazel Grant and I head up the Data and Privacy team here at Fieldfisher in London. Today I'm joined by my friend and colleague Lorna Cropper, who is a director in our team. And we're very excited to tell you about a new podcast series that our team will be launching next week. So Lorna, tell us what we can expect.
Well, thank you for that, Hazel. So we're going to be doing a monthly podcast that will focus on a roundup of the month's relevant data stories that occurred in the previous month. And we'll provide some takeaways about the impact of the topic on businesses and organisations. And then we'll also signpost listeners to where they can get some extra information.
Okay, that sounds pretty useful. I shall be listening into that. But how are we going to choose what we're going to talk about each month, Lorna?
Well, as you know, Hazel, there's an absolute wealth of information there, and we will be spoiled for choice about what to cover. And I do think, though, there'll be an element of natural selection. Some stories will be so fundamental that they'll sift to the top, as they do. And then there'll be sector-specific things, and then different topics that are more relevant to a particular category of data subjects. So, as I'm sure you're up to speed, in January already, we've seen the EU Data Act enter the official journal. We've seen a leaked copy of the consolidated version of the EU AI Act, although we are expecting very shortly a consolidated official copy. We've had the EDPB's second enforcement report, this time focusing on the DPO. There's been the announcement from the European Commission, all 11 data adequacy agreements of countries such as New Zealand, Argentina, they have been approved. Let's hope when the UK delivers its Data Protection and Digital Information Bill that it's also looking at adequacy, which is so important. Then we've had a call for evidence on feedback of the GDPR, which is for the 8th of February. We've then had the ICO calling for feedback and an open consultation on its generative AI. It's also updated the age assurance opinion. And then we've seen two fines just this week from the CNIL on Amazon for its extensive surveillance, 32 million, and then also on Yahoo, 10 million for alleged cookie consent violation. And then I think what we will also try to do is spot the trends and see like the common themes and join the dots that we see internally. And given the wealth and richness of our client base, we see such great experiences and different things to be enabling us to look at the stories and make them impactful.
There's a lot to cover, isn't there? There is a lot to cover.
There is, but equally, and perhaps you could give us a little tip, Hazel, because I've always marvelled at how up to date you do keep yourself with the law and all things data. So how, any tips for us in collating the information?
I'm not going to let that secret out. I'm afraid that's coming to the grave with me. But I think the strategy of finding out what the whole team is talking about, including our international team, and looking at what clients are asking us about, will end up with a huge wealth of material that we can choose from, and then prioritise the ones that really are affecting clients. And I think one of the things that you and I were talking about recently was just trends and how we see enforcement trends. Picking out the details that have developed over the years. So you drew my attention to the Belgian DPA's fine here, in imposition of corrective measures against a black tiger in Belgium. And this fine was just short of €175,000, and the infringements included a lack of transparency. Well, where have we seen that before? We've seen decisions before with WhatsApp and Klarna on lack of transparency. So we're definitely seeing regulators develop their practice and their enforcement, picking out different areas of GDPR. And that's really what our clients need to know about.
Yes, and I think it's not always those, the highest of fines. There's lots of detail and common themes in sometimes the less headline grabbing stories, although with all due respect, the Belgian fine you've just mentioned has created a lot of headlines. And I think we are often put on the spot of giving examples, and particularly one that springs to mind is data retention. So I think it's invaluable to have that kind of mental or digital directory of instances where you can say, if you don't comply, it's a risk for this reason. So I always like the tax of 4 times 35, which was one of the first fines focused on data retention. And then we've also had Group Canal Plus with the CNIL, and then Lisbon City Council, because I think, data retention is often very difficult for many companies and organisations from a practical point, but it shows what the regulators will look for.
Okay. Well, we can't give all the content in this small trailer, so I think we'll just need to move on now to where are our listeners going to find the podcasts in the future.
Well, the podcast is going to be available on the Fieldfisher Data and Digital Podcast Series channel, which is on all an absolute variety of podcast channels. Won't give away our own podcast preferred channels, but from Apple to Spotify, Amazon Music, and a whole host of others. So no difficulty in listening to it. That we'll also upload it to our YouTube channel. That's the Fieldfisher Data and Privacy Team YouTube channel. And as with all our other value add content from our webinars, articles, and blogs and in-person workshops, viewers and listeners can sign up to the fieldfisher.com or details on the fieldfisher.com website to our email digest, which alerts them to new content and events.
Well, thank you very much, Lorna. I think all that needs now is for me to wrap up and say thank you everyone for listening in. I hope you look forward to this regular update of news. I certainly do. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact Lorna or myself on our emails, which you'll find on the Fieldfisher website. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Bye.